Hello and good day, Welcome to the Super Good Camping Podcast. My name is Pamela.
I'm Tim.
And we are from supergoodcamping.com. We're here because we're on a mission to inspire other people to get outside and enjoy camping adventures such as we have as a family. Whether you're cooking over an open flame, camp stove, or backpacking burner, great food belongs in the wild. Today's guests are all about adventure and appetite. Please welcome Cassy, Tyler, and Tosh from Camp Kitchen. Yay, welcome.
Thanks for coming out, guys. It's a lovely sunny Sunday.
Sunny but not warm. It's pretty cold.
Not warm, yeah.
Yeah, well, not Tosh. You're not worried about that.
What's weather like down where you're at, Tosh?
It's been in the low 80s most of the week. So it's at the mid to high 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been quite nice.
That's terrible.
Thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it's full on spring here. All the trees are cracking their buds, and the birds are going crazy. There's cardinals everywhere, just squawking at first light in the morning, and there's a couple apple trees in the backyard here that have all started to come out and bloom. The flowers are cracking out, and so it's pretty nice.
Nice. We had a dusting of snow last night.
Yes.
Well, out here in Peterborough, we can hear the birds chirping. The sun's been beautiful the last couple of days. All the snow has melted to make a gigantic ice skating rink in our driveway.
Nice.
So
Not all
the snow, but
it's still like 3 feet of snow.
When it melts enough just to create that slippery rink.
The black ice that you're walking along the sidewalk and you don't notice it.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Sorry, I am just recovering from being sick and my brain is operating at slower than normal, which is a scary thing. You guys, so we saw you on launch of your new products. Tell us about that how that played out at the Hamilton show for you.
Blue, you want to take it away?
Sure. Yeah, we've been working on our recipes and our packaging and getting comfortable with the machines and all the ingredients for the past, I guess, 2 years now. So I think it was about eight months we set Hamilton as our launch, as our goal. And we really weren't sure if it was attainable. We talked to a handful of people, professionals, and kind of got the if you work really hard, you might be able to hit that goal. And so we worked as hard as we could. We still didn't know for sure if we were going to make the deadline for the show, even up to the week before. We hadn't gotten our packaging yet. But it was all being made. It was just whether we were going to be able to pick it up in time. But thankfully, Tosh was able to run down, I guess, 5 or 6 days before the Hamilton show and picked up all the packaging. And so we just worked around the clock to get everything in the bags. And yeah, no, it's been a long time coming. And being able to launch at the show was really exciting. And it felt good.
Well, and the packaging is beautiful.
It was so cool to be there with such a supportive community of people that have been cheering us on since the very beginning, and to also be able to enjoy that moment with Tosh. Our partnership really bloomed. Last May was when we made it official, and so to be able to enjoy that, the three of us, the fruit of our labor, really was just pretty surreal. I think that I'm still kind of coming to terms with the fact that we've actually launched our food and it's in the universe now for people to buy and enjoy.
Yeah, the packaging is beautiful. And I know somebody ordered several packages. So I've seen firsthand what it looks like. And the ingredient, the recipes, the meals themselves look really amazing.
Yeah, and I would say hands down that launching at the Hamilton Adventure Expo was absolutely the right call. That's your target market right there, your target audience.
Yeah, it's a really good show. We're really happy to showcase the food there, debut it there.
Cool.
Yeah.
So many people came up to us at the show and were just talking about how excited they were to see an Ontario-based product, a really high quality food on the market. honestly, the show couldn't have gone any better for us. It was fantastic, the reception we got from everybody.
And how many?
I don't think that there was like a single moment where we were able to sit still and do nothing. It was like constant, vibrant conversation with so many people about different adventures they were on and adventures they're about to take. And the question we all love, which is like, what's your favorite meal? So yeah, just being able to talk to people about the recipes and to be able to sell our product in person is just so cool.
Yeah, it's
Well, I want to know the answer to the question. Like,
Oh, sorry.
what is your favorite meal?
Let's ask Tyler that question.
Why me?
Because it's the most fun to ask Tyler what his favorite meal is because he created all the meals.
I really like the breakfast skillet, the backcountry breakfast skillet. I know it's the breakfast, but I have it for dinner quite often as well. And my
I
other
can vouch for
favorite
that.
is one we haven't released yet. So keep some excitement for that one.
You're not gonna
But yeah,
tease it? You're not gonna give us a sneak peek
no,
into what it is?
no. Because we have 3 meals that are going to be launched sometime this year. We just don't know when they're going to be launched, so I wouldn't want to tease anyone and get someone excited for something that might not happen until November.
Yeah. What's your favorite, Tosh? You have to tell your favorite.
Yeah, I think mine is the jambalaya. That's really the first meal that Tyler and I ever made together. Like going back, we met initially at the Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show. Just Tyler came up and started a conversation. We were chatting, um, and then I was traveling in the van, and I had this idea of like, hey, do you want to make a cooking video, like prepping for the backcountry together? And so we took over my mom's kitchen, and I brought my little freeze dryer and the one you can see over Cassy's shoulder there. And we made 4 meals over a weekend, just completely taking over my mom's brand new kitchen. And the first one we made was the jambalaya. And the reason for that is that was my favorite ration when I was in the army. And it blew me away just with what was possible with the way the shrimp comes back, the chicken, the sausage and everything, like the amount of protein in that meal, and then how well it reconstitutes. Like you could put it back into a bowl and serve it to somebody in your house and they would never know the difference. So yeah,
It's
the
such
jambalaya,
a
like
good
just
one.
the personal story for me of like, remembering sitting in the rain in the army, eating cold rations of jambalaya, thinking like this is as good as it gets, and now hanging out by the fire and eating this incredible jambalaya. The whole evolution of it's pretty neat.
You're like, oh, this is as good as it's going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
really.
confidently say that that's one meal that Tim will never try.
Yeah. You guys packaged up a whole bunch of stuff recently for us. And a bunch of that was I bought it for Thomas, our eldest, because when we backcountry trip, we eat stuff that's safe for dad, and I don't make special meals for him because I just don't. I'm a wee delicate thing. I can't if it has peppers or anything. It's just bad. It's bad. So I bought a bunch of the jambalaya. What else was there? There was something else. So your skillet in the which I think you're out of stock, but it has peppers and stuff. I look at it, it's like, oh, that looks so good. Oh, that's gonna go poorly for me, man.
You don't want to be in the backcountry having it go poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely like the toughest part, I would say, is like everyone's going to have different like dietary restrictions and, different things that they can and can't eat. And so that's been something that we've like tried our best to navigate. But at the same time, it's like because everyone has such different uh, food needs, we're just trying our best to include like a variety and then just run with it. But the hope is that eventually we have, like 25 to 30 meal options so that there really is something for everybody on the menu to choose
Yeah,
and
you can't
enjoy.
accommodate Tim. Don't worry about
I will eat my dehydrated, not freeze dried meals that are 50% less good stuff in them because at least they'll fit my. Although I did get isn't there? There's oats and I want to say oats and strawberries and oats and blueberries as well. Yeah, so
Blueberries.
that'll
Yeah.
work just fine
Yeah.
for me for breakfast. Take some of that.
Yeah.
What is that bacon? There's like a pre-cooked bacon. It weighs nothing, and you
Hmm.
can take it like for your six
Yeah.
6 days or
Ready
whatever.
crisp.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pair it up with your oatmeal. I like to say that our two oatmeal options are like a culinary experience. Tyler's oatmeal is like can't be compared to other oatmeals. It's like next level. Anytime he's doing research and development with oatmeal and Tosh and I are in the same room with him, he just about has to like kick both of us out of the kitchen, or he'll like wind up just caving in and rehydrating a bowl of oatmeal for Tosh and I just to like share and enjoy. But yeah, the aromatics that come out of that bag when you add warm water, it's just unreal. I know I'm biased, but for real, it's next level breakfast.
Yeah, I said to so many people in Hamilton when they were buying the oatmeal, especially the strawberry raspberry, is just do yourself a favor and like pick out one strawberry before you rehydrate the meal and just try it. And it is it's candy. It's unbelievable how good it is, how sweet, and it just it dissolves in your mouth. It's just a freeze dried strawberry, so it's it's amazing. And then when you put the water on it, the way it comes back, and it's oatmeal on a completely another level.
Cool. That
Yeah.
that brings to mind. I remember, pretty sure it was Ben Beauchamp was saying in one of his videos. This we're going back a ways, where he was trying out something that had, man, I want to say it had kidney beans in it or something along those lines, where it didn't rehydrate to his liking. What was that process like? Trying to figure out what worked, or how to make things, like how dry they had to be in order to be safe but still come back in rehydrating.
Yeah, so when we're making the meals, it really comes down to how big you leave the ingredients, because it comes down to like the density of the food. So something like chicken or beef, if you leave it too big, it's gonna rehydrate really slowly. Something like broccoli, you can get away with leaving a bit bigger because it's a less
Right.
dense food, so it'll come back a little bit quicker. But basically, it's just trial and error and testing things out. Everything dries to completeness in the machine, because it's under vacuum and it has a sensor in it to know the moisture level and the vacuum that's in the machine. It knows when the food has lost all of its moisture. So there's not too much concern about that as long as you check it when it comes out. There's ways to check. Like I weigh all my trays before they go in, and then I take the weights when they come out, and I know what the weights should be now, to make sure the food is dry. So but yeah, it's just really just testing things. Like we did spaghetti meatballs. I think that's probably what you're thinking. And the meatballs I quartered, and they were still too big to come back in time. And then there was the shepherd's pie we tried. We have a shepherd's pie now, but we tried it with cheese curds, and the cheese curds just didn't come back. And just because cheese curds are so dense and they're already low moisture, it's hard to get that moisture back into the inside. So yeah, just trial and error.
And lots of fun
Yeah.
in between. That's what was so awesome about getting the meals out for research and development, like for Tyler and Tosh at the very beginning, because this is like 2.5 years in the making, which is hard to like wrap our brains around of like each meal that Tyler, had this like idea about has gone through 3, sometimes 4 different rounds of batch testing. So some of them you nailed right on the head and they were perfect and the recipes didn't change. And then, of course, there were some of those meals that just weren't perfect that needed to be reworked. But I think that was like the fun of what research and development really is supposed to be. Not every recipe that Tyler develops is going to be perfect right up off the bat, but like even the fail meals are still so enjoyable to have on a canoe trip, I'm sure.
Yeah, like the genesis of the spaghetti meatballs turned into this meal here, the penne bolognese. And so we knew from the spaghetti meatballs that we had to switch to a meat sauce, and spaghetti is not the best pasta to pick because it ends up being crushed in your backpack. So short noodles are a little bit stronger and they hold up to a little bit more beating. So that's what that meal it was, and now we have that meal. So
Cool.
yeah, it's just like
Must have
trial and
been
error.
must have been terrible for you, Tosh, to have to try out all those meals, right?
Yeah, I've often said that if Tyler and I ever decided to go like part ways, I don't know how I'd go back to eating my own food, even if it's freeze dried. It's terrible.
Tosh, I'm right there with you. For some reason, Tyler and I ever part ways, like I'm done for. I don't know how I would ever be able to take care of myself. No, I'm just kidding. I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not a chef in our family. Tyler likes to take on most of the roles of cooking at home, but yeah, we're really lucky to be able to test out these meals and even just like in person at HQ. I feel like I have the luckiest job on the face of the planet. Like when Tyler comes at me with a spoon to ask me what I think of something, sometimes I look at him like, are you looking for like a Michelin star rating? Like, I don't know what to tell you. Everything you make tastes good, but I feel like pretty lucky that that's a part of my job
You don't
uh,
you don't want his
at
head to get
HQ.
overswollen, so maybe once in a while go, okay, I'll take one for the team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So how many different meals have you got now in your repertoire?
So we have 6 dinners and 3 breakfasts. 2 of those breakfasts are the oatmeals, and then the 6 dinners. And then we have 3 more dinners, or sorry, 2 more dinners and 1 more egg breakfast that will be launched this year. And then after that, who knows what's going to happen. We have a couple other projects that we're going to start working on sometime soon that aren't freeze dried, just like some snack or lunch options, if you will. So we will be getting into some more stuff that either doesn't have freeze dried components to it at all, or have components of freeze dried things mixed in it, or some snack options that are freeze dried. For example, we've been talking about doing some sort of like fruit salad in a way, freeze drying a bunch of fruit and mixing it in a bag. Going back to how Tosh was just saying, eating one of those freeze dried strawberries is so good. Can we do like a trail mix that you don't rehydrate, that you just eat freeze dried? Maybe some like grapes, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. Just something you can eat while you're in the canoe or on the trail. Easy to grab, give you a little bit of that natural sugar boost. So just a couple things like that we want to work on, but we definitely are always doing some meal development as well.
Cool. Two questions that kind of go together. So I know you spent ages making the meals to take to the Hamilton show for the launch. How much did you take enough to for the what everybody wanted? Because I know that people knew going in that you were going to be launching at the show, so they were actually excited to be going and buying them from you. And what if that's if the answer is what I think it's going to be? Why are your dehydrators not running right now?
Okay, so a couple
Good
things.
question.
We brought over 1,000 meals to the Hamilton show. My batch sizes right now are about 125 to 150 meals. So we had about a batch of everything going in. That doesn't include the steak spice, trout spice, bannock, and fish flour. We had approximately, I guess, 200 of each of those, just because they're not freeze-dried components. So I use those as a bit of like a filler job. And so yeah, we had enough food. We knew that because we have a 2-year best before date, we can really just go full steam ahead and get ready. Our eyes are set on the next thing all the time. So right now we're prepping for the Sportsman show. The machines have been running nonstop, but we also know that after the Sportsman show, that's going to put us in April, and people are really going to start planning their tripping season. So we're just going full steam ahead and just making as much food as we possibly can. I'm able to make about let's say 600 pounds of before freeze dried food every 2 weeks. So about 300 pounds a week I'm making right now. That's 3 batches. So we have enough capacity to run 100 pounds at a time. And I can run the machine. It's about 2.5 days for one cycle. The machines are actually, I just emptied them this morning. I just packaged the penne bolognese actually. And the machines are defrosting. So after 2.5 days of running, there's about 2.5 inches of ice around the outside cylinder. And they actually have a defrost cycle, so you can hit the defrost, the elements come on, and they melt all the ice, and goes down into a little condensate pump that I have that's hooked up to the sink, and it just pumps the water out into the sink for me. So they just finished defrosting, and I thought you guys would appreciate the quiet. So as soon as this is over, the next round's going in. But yeah, they're running basically 24/7.
There's never not a time where Tyler's like, because HQ is located in our space, like our living space. The basement's completely renovated into like obviously a certified kitchen. But sometimes through the day, Tyler will just be at home and just be like, "Hey, peace out. Gotta go check on the freeze dryers and see what's happening." And so it feels like this like whole other life that we also lead, like on the side, where they're just always on and just always running. So it's a huge part of our life. And lots of fun.
Leading up to Hamilton, I think the dryers had been running virtually nonstop, either drying or defrosting since October right into January. And we are finishing and packing and loading the trailer and everything to take all these bins of food down to Hamilton. And we all remark like, "Oh my goodness, it's so quiet down here now." We're walking around the kitchen, and you normally have these vacuum pumps running constantly in the background. And
it's a really odd sound it's odd and eerie just to hear nothing down here. Because normally you have to like yell at each other to like talk to each other. Usually I'll say something to Tyler and he'll say, "What? And I'm like, "Can you not hear what I'm saying? I've said it like 3 times." But we're just used to that now. It's just our daily life.
Tyler, you've mentioned red Fife flour, and I know like your fish flour, and even in the ramen noodles you talked to us about last time, you like that. What is it about that flour that you gravitate towards?
Well, to be honest, it's a flour that I've been using for probably a decade now. And when this goes back to the restaurant days. So when I owned the restaurant, we were like fine dining, casual fine dining, and hyper local. So I was using as many ingredients, like 50 kilometers. That was sort of like my radius. And I tried to do as much from that 50-kilometer radius as absolutely possible. Even the salt that I was using, I was able to get sea salt from Newfoundland. So ingredients that I couldn't necessarily source local, I was still able to get Canadian. We were about 90 to 95% ingredients from that 50-kilometer range. So it was really important to us. And so when you start talking about flours and finding mills, up here it's challenging. There's not as much. Down in Guelph area, it's easy. There's mills everywhere making really good quality flours and grains. But yeah, I started working with a grain farm around here, and they had a flour called Red Fife flour. And I didn't really know anything about it, but I really liked the flavor profile and the notes from it. So I started researching it more and more. And it's a flour that it has a really cool heritage and is actually pretty regional to Peterborough. I think it was brought over from Holland area, and even going into like Spain and Portugal even before that, but brought over to the Peterborough area and grown. So it grows really well and in abundance around Peterborough. So that was a flour that I could use that really represented that local touch and also had a delicious flavor. So ever since then, I've really liked using it. During COVID, we actually turned our restaurant into a fried chicken restaurant for, I guess, maybe 3 months or so, just to change things up. And in the fried chicken dredge, I used the red fife flour. And it gave it such a unique characteristic of that earthy, nutty flavor, but it's a bit more coarse ground. So you end up with that almost cornmeal texture. And so that's when I started using it as a dredge. And that's what inspired me to use it as the fish flour. So we have the red fife fish flour, the shoreline flour that we offer. And I also started doing some guiding after we sold the restaurant, and maybe even when we owned the restaurant, at the tail end of the restaurant. And we'd take people out, 5, 6, 7 people out into the woods and do a 3-course dinner for them. And I started making these panna cottas with a local herbal tea. And I'd make the bannock as like a nice cake and cut it into triangles and serve the red fife bannock with that tea panna cotta. And it was an unbelievable pairing. So ever since then, when I'd go on winter trips, I'd always bring that bannock mix with the red fife and cook it up in the hot tent. And so it became a staple for me. And so when we were getting ready to launch, we were looking for some options that we could use as filler jobs, that we could package that didn't require the freeze jar that we could offer. That was like a no-brainer for us. It's so delicious and so good.
And now it's selling so well as an add-on because it's just such a fun item to pick up, to kind of add into your camp kitchen mix that you already have. There's enough there that you can, create a couple different meals out of it. So yeah, it's been a really fun part of we're calling it our campfire essentials, which includes the bannock mix, the shoreline fish flour, the trout spice, and the steak spice. And those items, along with our oatmeal, can actually ship across Canada. So although many of our meals, because they have meat, can only be sold exclusively to Ontario at the moment, it's really nice to have 6 core products that can ship all across Canada.
So, Tosh, what do you do then if they can't ship it to you? Do you have to keep coming up, grabbing a bunch, and then going back down?
Well, I'm not down here for too long, so I brought a bunch with me. But yeah, I've just been traveling around with what I have with me in the van, and then I can pack out from there. So using the van kind of as base camp, and then bouncing back out. Right now, I'm pet sitting, so I've got a nice house to stay in for a few days and look after a couple cats and a dog, but then heading back out on the river again. So I'll pack a bunch more meals out of the van and go from there.
So you've been doing some river trips, Tosh?
Yep, I did one short one. It's very dry down here all across the southwest of the U.S. So like they've had like almost drought level conditions for the last 6 months across a lot of Texas, Arizona, all the way across to like Arkansas. And even like I was talking to an outfitter trying to plan a trip in kind of the Florida, Georgia borderline area. And a bunch of the areas I wanted to go through are really low water, and some of them are even closed right now, just because the water is so low.
That's poopy.
But yeah, it's a little bit of a headache sometimes, I find, down here, just trying to figure out all the regulations between the federal and the state. And back in Ontario, it seems so second nature to plan a trip and bounce out somewhere. And actually, what I have realized in coming down here now a few times is that like we really underappreciate how much land we have to use in Ontario to go backcountry camping. Like it's unbelievable to be able to just go out and like, oh, here's 100 kilometers canoe route that just goes through all public land, and then you just don't have that down here, and there's so many more people. But what we have for canoe trails, they have for hiking trails down here. If you're interested in hiking the Southwest, there's nothing like it. You can go do 1,000-mile trail tomorrow if you wanted to.
No, I couldn't.
So Cassy and Tyler, do you have any trips planned? Are you able to get away from the freeze dryers for a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm heading out on Thursday for a winter ice fishing trip with Ben Beauchamp.
Nice.
And that'll be like a 4-day trip. And then come back Sunday and get the freeze jars going again. But I've been able to prep ahead, so there'll be food in them as I go. So they'll be timed good.
Yeah. And then our next big thing that we have happening, Tyler mentioned, is the Toronto Sportsman Show in March from the 19th to the 22nd. So we're not really doing much leading up to that because there's going to be so much for us to prepare and have ready, mostly for Tyler, but also for me to kind of prepare behind the scenes and then continue to, ship out orders from the online store, which is doing really well right now. For anyone that doesn't know, campkitchenstore.ca is where you can purchase our meals online. And so ever since Hamilton, our flow of orders has been really great. So that's exciting. I spend a lot of my mornings down in HQ packing those orders before I even get my kids ready to go to school so that I can make sure I get those shipments off as soon as possible to the post for people to have for their weekend adventures. So we've been focused on that, but hoping that once we get through the sportsman show, we can do some family camping with our kids. They've been so patient with us getting this line of freeze-dried food up off the ground, and they're getting really antsy to get out on some trips as a family. And then also this August, we have a new family member that's going to arrive. And so I want to get in the canoe multiple times on a couple of big trips before I'm busy taking care of a newborn. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but we're pretty excited about this year and making some memories with adventures and eating good food and getting food into people's hands. Like it's just surreal that we're at this point. We're just so excited for growth.
Yeah, inventory is definitely top priority. We know that can be the biggest downfall with small food manufacturers is that just keeping up with demand is challenging. So we've balanced that with our slow launch, just being able to be available in Ontario until we get our CFA approval for a bigger space and can double down on our production. It's kind of like a nice border to have for now, and just making enough food. Like going into the sportsman show, we don't really know what to expect, but it makes a big difference. Every batch that we can get before we go is more food that we're either going to bring back or be able to sell at the show. So that is a huge priority, and yeah, I think it'll level out eventually where we can step away for a weekend here and there. But right now it's
just putting all we got into it. Yeah. For growth over the next few years. I'll let you talk about that, Tosh, about where we're hoping to land.
Yeah, so like the demand has been amazing. We had really no idea what to expect. We knew there was some people that were interested going into Hamilton, but the Saturday of that show, so the show was Saturday, Sunday, and Saturday we were blown away by, at some points you couldn't get past the front of our booth because there'd be 40 people all in line waiting to get to the table. And we were a little bit concerned, like if Sunday was going to be that busy again, that we could possibly be selling out of food before the end of the show. Turned out Sunday was the big snowstorm, and so the crowds were a little bit smaller, but still was amazing. But that's part, like as Tyler was saying, that's part of our concern is just keeping the machines running and trying to keep up with demand and increase our capacity. So now that we're just selling in Ontario, we're seeming to be able to manage with our space, but if we want to go across Canada or outside of Canada, we're going to definitely need to expand the kitchen and get into a much bigger space and probably be hiring staff. And it's a whole other, kettle of fish at that point. But it's just, we're taking all these steps as we grow, and we've sat around the kitchen table I don't know how many times, just draining pots of coffee and scheming up ideas and making plans and talking about the future together. It's been such a
some
fun
nights
partnership.
it's like we look at the clock and we're like, oh my gosh, we need to go to bed now. Like it's time to just stop. Or like our brains will start to like physically hurt and we're like, okay, let's pick up this conversation like again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll hammer it out. But we make such an amazing team. All of us have unique like strengths and weaknesses that we can like hold each other up through. And yeah, it's just been so cool to see that partnership like flourish. And just to be able to like lean on each other. Like running a small business is not for the faint of heart. Tyler and I have always been and will always be entrepreneurs. We have experience running small businesses together. But definitely, I will say that the best part has been sharing it with a third person that, really has a fantastic, like, outside perspective. I'm sure Tim and Pam, you know what it's like to be married and to have, your project that you're working on together, and it probably consumes a lot of your time, and you do it together because you love it. And so Tyler and I have been like that since I can remember. And so having that third person kind of come in and give, a bit of a different perspective sometimes, or a different opinion, is like amazing, because I truly don't think that,
or even a guidance and encouragement. Sometimes you're like, this idea might be crazy, and then Tosh is like, no, it's definitely crazy. Or he's like, yeah, let's do it, right? Yeah. So like having that like third point of like confidence and guidance, it really goes a long way as well.
Yeah, it's just been the best. So it's nice to be able to share those responsibilities and not have to like stress out alone over things. It's like there's always a solution. And yeah, it's nice to be able to push each other towards big goals. Like Tyler was saying, like gearing up to Hamilton, we talked to so many people that were like, okay, like, good luck with that goal. Like you could do it if hopefully it all works out. And so I, to myself, was thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I set us this like crazy goal to have food for next year. Like I remember being at HQ like last June thinking like, okay, like, can we pull this together in a certain amount of months? Like having the conversations, like, is this going to happen? And then, months before with Tosh, jumping in and with his camera and doing the photography for our bags, like it was really just like, we're really pulling every single strength out of our pockets and, taking this huge risk together. Like we have no idea what's going to happen, but hopefully the result of this is going to be, successful. And I think that that's the key to really anything, is getting outside of your comfort zone and just trying. We wouldn't be where we are today without the three of us really putting our heads together, and especially Tyler. Tosh and I wouldn't be here at all without Tyler. Let's be real.
That's right.
So
I just make it look like I know what I'm doing.
There's a lot of stuff going on like behind the scenes that I don't think ever gets mentioned, and it just little things like if you look at the bags for the pouches of food, we designed that. Like I would say Cassy designed all of those from scratch, and then we thought, okay, well, should we hire someone to do all the photography? And I thought, okay, like I've got a good camera, let's just see what happens. And we were able to take the pictures like right there, and Tyler's dressing the food and I'm trying to get the lighting right, and then Cassy's putting it on her computer and turning it into like the magic that came out of it. And then it also just so happens we have to use Adobe Illustrator for all the design for the packaging company. Cassy used Illustrator back when she was in college, and so there was a little bit of a learning curve to catch back up again, but then she's right back into it. And so these little coincidences along the way of just like, oh yeah, I can figure that out. Okay, well, can you figure this out? And we just, multitasking, and we're parting things out, and everyone's stepping up. It's been such a wild process, and especially in the last 12 months to think that we're actually here now.
Yeah, I remember we had a meeting like with our company that we went with for packaging, and so it was like our first like really exciting like meeting for the three of us to go to. We had such a good feeling about this company, and they ended up like really having our backs, and we were so happy with how our bags turned out, being able to get them in time for the show, everything. But I remember
being able to go to the actual facility and doing a tour of the facility was really cool too.
Yeah, we were standing like checking in before our meeting, and all I remember is Tosh just being like, "Hey, Cass," and I'm like, "What?" And he holds up this package, and it's like I don't even know what it was. It was like a knife inside of a box or something like that that they had like on display in the front, and it said Camp Kitchen on it. And I was like, that's weird. Anyways, let's carry on with this meeting. Like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't think that things just happen to people. I really do believe in hard work. And there hasn't been a day that's gone by where we haven't put in that hard work. But I do really also believe that, you know, great things can happen. And if you just follow your heart and your path, it'll take you to where you're meant to be. So yeah, it's been a really, really cool, fun journey so
Well
far.
said.
Yeah, and the amount of work that goes into it behind the scenes, especially what Tyler, I would say, the number of hours that nobody mentions that he's working full time plus working full time in the kitchen and getting all this food out, and like it all goes unnoticed to everybody but the three of us. And so we've built this really strong connection through all the work we're doing. And if you ever saw our group chat and you looked at the timelines of when we're texting, it starts at 5:30 in the morning, and then it's going till midnight that night. Then it starts again the
Yeah.
next day of just
And it's
ideas
so
and
funny, like
questions.
thank goodness for like the reply option, like in a group chat, because like our topics are like one person, like
We
Tyler's
have like
trying
4
to like
conversations going at the same time.
communicate like something important we need to decide on that's like food related, and then Tosh is jumping in and asking questions about like things that we need to order for like the trade show, and then I'm jumping in and like commenting on like something that I need their approval for like social media. So if someone actually saw into that chat, they would just be like, how are you guys operating through all that? But like somehow we just click and understand each other, and it just works.
Mm-hmm.
That's excellent. It's yes, all the hard work, yes, all the wonderful things you can pull out of your pockets and stuff, but sometimes, the cosmos just lines up and things go the way that because they're meant to go, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think
Yeah, like I said, when Tyler and I first met I met these guys at the trade show in Toronto over 2 years ago now, and Tyler just struck up a conversation and asked me if if I wanted to try out the twig stove, just go test it out for him, and that was the beginning of of everything you see now. Just that one
I think
conversation.
just on that topic. I mean, I think that's what put me on to you guys was look because I saw who did I see? Rob, I think, from in the outside. And this it was the size of the surface area of it going, oh, it's not a tiny little thing that's just going to burn all the stuff in the middle of my pan. I can cook on that. Like I could put a steak on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how we just got yakking about things. But,
Yeah.
That twig stove is like still generating customers for us. Like literally the other day, I'm trying so hard to continue to develop our social communities. One of my weaknesses is Facebook because personally I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, but I know that there's a community of people that want to engage with us on that platform. And so anyways, I got a message on our Facebook from a customer literally a couple of days ago that was like, I went to Google and typed in stick stove, and I walked away with like discovering a company that makes like local, real ingredient, no preservatives, like this amazing freeze dried food company that's like blowing me away. And so I read that comment and I was like, guys, look at this community that's also supporting us, on Facebook. And they found us through Google just by typing in stick stove. Like, that's incredible. And that customer actually made an order that I packed up on Friday morning to send out. So that is so neat to me that product that we still, are selling that's doing really, really well is also something that will continue to bring customers to us to discover Tyler's food and tell our story because it really was the first, thing that we started this business with. So
there's Facebook. We're old, so Facebook's a thing for us. But
Not
there
me.
are a bazillion camping groups, whether it's canoeing groups, hiking groups, whatever, Ontario Parks groups, blah, blah, blah. I bet you I belong to like 30 different camping themed groups on there. And they're all pretty, I don't know that hardcore is the right term, but they're all validly interested in things that tend to be Ontario-ish. So, I would think it's a good demographic for you to cater to if it's, it's worth the pain in the butt. I think that a lot of those people are good people and would be your demographic.
Absolutely, yeah. And I try to tell myself there's only so many platforms that you can really keep your finger on. Like, I've worked in social media content creation now for like the last 15 years of my life, and that's my job. Um, Behind the scenes is maintaining our social media platforms, editing some of Tyler's YouTube videos for YouTube for the Camp Kitchen channel, and really just like planning out and forecasting our content. So predominantly we are on Instagram. You can find us on Instagram at camp_kitch. You can find us on YouTube, same tag at _camp kitch, camp kitchen. On Facebook, Camp Kitchen. And those are really the three platforms that we have social media wise. But one thing that I wanted to mention today also is that we're developing an incredible email newsletter. And so we have a spot on our website, campkitchenstore.ca, where you can go and actually sign up for our e-newsletter, which has easily become one of my favorite platforms to share on and tell our story and update our customers on product drops, restocks, basically just like behind the scenes information that we're not necessarily sharing on our social media feeds, kind of like a special glimpse at what we're working on, like a first announcement type thing where those folks get first access to new products or just information about events that we're doing, etc. So yeah, we try our best to be as active as possible and to keep up with making some really cool, relatable content. But it's also been such like a relief and huge excitement to us to see people tagging us on socials in their photos, actually like using and enjoying our product. So we're really, really excited about that. There's nothing cooler than like logging on and seeing someone's tagged you in like an amazing picture like of our product camping. Like, that is just so cool, and I know it's going to continue to happen. So yeah, you can find us on all of those platforms.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's been a pretty cool thing, is just seeing where people are taking the food out on their trips. And you're seeing tags, and I'm sure it's going to continue as we get into the summer camping season, where people are just out all across Ontario or Canada or beyond, and where the food goes. It's pretty exciting to see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Well, I'm sure there'll be lots of pictures of the big tall kid eating your food. So we'll tag you
on the Spanish River.
On the Spanish River. That's our first trip.
Perfect. Oh, that's a good trip.
We tried to do it last year, and the Bud car got taken out of service at 7:30 the night before. So it's like, okay. So we did Temagami, which is just I love that trip anyhow. So it's all good, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The West Branch is pretty awesome. Are you going to go all the way up to
I
Disco?
have no idea. Organic Boat Shop has organized everything, or done all the things. I just show up. So
okay. Yeah.
That's
awesome. I think I was talking to them about that. I think they put in at Sinker Creek, but I'm not 100% sure. Know.
If I don't have to plan it, it's not a bad thing. I've been planning trips for decades. It's nice to let somebody else do it once in a while.
Yeah, it's a good trip. Tyler and I took a run down the East Branch last summer or the year before, and we had a great time. His kind of his introductory to whitewater tripping was on that river.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, they are, and it's also nice to do. I mean, we all trip together, but most of the time I trip with our eldest, and it was. I think there were 9 of us on that trip, and it was the first time I'd ever done anything that big since way back when I was in Scouts, and it was a fantastic experience. Like, everybody was just cool. They were chill. They were there to do what we were there to do. So it was very cool. Quite enjoyable.
Oh, that's
We'll
perfect.
drag some of your meals out with us on this one for sure. Get lots of pictures, because I think the whack of us posted like an absolute ton of social media stuff. I don't know why, but it just
Yeah.
seemed to be that kind of a trip.
Yeah, or Organic Boat Shop is also on our list of people that we've had a bunch of retailers and outfitters reaching out to us that want to stock the product. And as we were saying before, it's like keeping up with demand. But eventually, as we can move into a bigger space, we'll be wholesaling to retailers, and we'll get these on store shelves and outfitters, and that's another step that we're working towards. But yeah, the Organic Boat Shop has expressed a lot of interest in putting our product on their shelves and taking it out on their
Yeah,
trips.
no, Greg's a great guy. We've yacked with him a bunch. We're friends,
Mm-hmm.
and he has been just pushing hard to build up the Organic Boat Shop. And when he sees stuff that it goes bing in his head, he chases it down. So he'd be a
Yeah,
super easy guy to
yeah.
work with.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. It'll be a really exciting day when we're able to start wholesaling. So, even locally here in Peterborough, Wild Rock Outfitters has been one of our biggest supporters since we launched our twig stove product. They actually stock it in their store, and have been super supportive of Tyler and I through this entire journey. So, like, the list is starting to get very long of people that we just genuinely like love and, of course, want our product on their shelves. So it's really just going to be about putting the pedal to the metal, working super hard, and then eventually growing into a space where we can start meeting the capacity that we would require to meet in order to get our product on those shelves, which would require more than one Tyler to do.
I'll start working on a cloning machine for you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. That's it for us for today. Thank you so much to Cassy, Tyler, and Tosh from Camp Kitchen for joining us. And please do check them out. Best place is probably on their website. You'll find all of their socials. It'll be campkitchenstore.ca. Yeah, make sure you get the store. And then otherwise, check them out at the Sportsman Show. And you can reach out to us anytime. We are at hi@supergoodcamping.com. That's hi@supergoodcamping.com. And we're on all the social media. We would love to talk to you. Please do reach out to us, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.